Hi, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to SA Accounting Academy. Here's a short clip on one of our previous webinars. I hope that you really do enjoy it.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I hope everybody can hear me clearly. You can see how I'm dressed this morning. It's ice cold in the Free State. I hear the weather is nice in Joburg. So, yes, I'd just like to say good morning and welcome to everybody. I see someone is typing in the message screen. Morning, Naveen. I hope you all would appear. I hope you all have a cup of coffee and we're going to talk business this morning. Now, ladies and gentlemen, talking about estates and what we're doing this morning. I've been in practice for 20 plus years, and it's my honest opinion that we as accountants undersell ourselves. So my purpose with these webinars are to add a revenue base to your clients. Through my career, I've been in many associations and many almost boys clubs, and they don't add value to my business. So what we are doing this morning, we are adding value to your business. So I hope you get something to take with you this morning. I believe you will. We've done this presentation a few times, and it grows every time, and it's an ever-evolving market. So yes, morning, Caroline. I see our numbers are growing. Just want to give people some time to log in. I hope everything is well with you, ladies and gentlemen. The year is getting long, and I think everybody is looking forward towards a break. Now, if you followed the news recently, the legal profession had an official Wills Week last week. So they did a lot of marketing for estates and wills. One of the challenges we face in South Africa is the fact that almost 60% of people do not have wills. Now, I want to throw a few statistics at you early in the morning. Welcome to those joining us. I'm just, before we start the webinar and everybody's joining in, it's almost like a play of old. In the days of Shakespeare, they had a long intro so people can get seated. I'm busy with that intro. So interesting statistics is that I spoke to the master in one of the offices, and he said 60% of estates are bankrupt. Now, that's a bad statistic. I don't worry about the 60%. I know the 40% that we want to do business with. There are two offices in South Africa, two government offices where you pass by in your life. At birth, it's Home Affairs, and at death, it's the Master's office. And in between, you'll have SARS. Like I said, there are three things that are sure. It's death, flies, and taxes. So, yes, that is the challenge we face. So, looking at estates practice and the way we do it, is something very important. And I think accountants are perfectly positioned. I know accountants are perfectly positioned. And what I'll show you this morning is how we generate fees from the estate practice and from the winding up of estates. So welcome to this morning's session. I believe we're going to add some value. Like I said, I hope you guys have a cup of coffee. For those who don't know me yet, my name is Jaco Liebenberg. I'm a chartered accountant. I've been in practice for 20 plus years. And yes, like you see, I've got a face for radio. I'm getting old. And yes, the eyesight's also going with age, all the time in front of the computer. So I've got my daughter's headset on this morning. So all dressed in pink. And as for those who are joining late, sorry I'm dressed up like an Eskimo, but it's freezing cold in the Free State. Last week we had a lovely 31 degrees, all in short sleeves and short pants, and suddenly the cold has hit us again. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I want to ask you today, please, through our session, be so kind as to ask questions. Okay, so our seminar or our webinar is done as usual in a slideshow. and we've got information to augment it. So what you have with you and will be uploaded is today's slideshow and presentation, and then also our examples. Today I'm going to look at an example of a will and an L&D account. Now the L&D account, it's important to understand and to know, because when we plan estates, we often do a small L&D account, or when we take on an estate. All right. But from your side, you must know your client's situation and understand the situation. And just through the basic calculation, understand what your challenges are. So the challenge with an estate is when the person has passed on, you're sitting with a situation where you have to follow a recipe in winding up the estate. And that is why the planning is so vital. About myself, like I said, I'm a CA and a public auditor, consult all over the country, and I'm lucky to be at a stage in my career where I can do work that I enjoy. And I thoroughly enjoy the work of estates. So, like I said, there's my email address. If you've got questions when you work with your clients, please feel free to contact me, and we can work around it and see how we can help people. But like I said, for those who joined late, today my purpose is to show you how you can, through your estate practice, adding value to your client, because you're already doing the books, you're already doing the tax, you know what assets the clients have, how we can generate fees for our practices. Okay, so on our outline today. Now, along with estates goes trusts. Now, trust is a valuable planning tool, and we're only looking at it from an introduction purpose today, but it's something to keep in mind with your bigger clients, where there's assets, or with clients coming in and they're expanding and they're buying property. To explain to the client, but it's better to have the property in a separate entity, especially if it's a growth property. For that, we use trusts. We don't put residential houses in trust. We use trust for business purposes. Where there's going to be growth in the asset, then you want to take the asset away from the estate. Okay. Then, after the introduction, we're going to look at business continuation. So let's look at our environment as accountants. The type of clients we have are small, medium businesses who are too small to have their own accountants, but too big to do the books themselves. Right. So that is part of our challenge. So we know we're in a target market that people have certain things. Now, if a client has property in his own name, a house, most of your clients should have a property. That property needs to be transferred on at the time that the person passes on. So from an estate, there's the executor's fees, there's property transfers, and I'll show you there's also the valuation of business shares, because SARS requires valuation of business shares. So we're going to look at that. Then we'll go through estates and the very important legislation. Now, the legislation regarding estates is as old as the mountains. It's some of the oldest legislation in South Africa, and it seldom changes. There's been some changes due to customary law in the last 10, 15 years, but basically it stays the same most of the time. And then we're going to have a look at the responsibilities and opportunities around trusts as well. So let's get going. Right, for those who joined late, just want to say welcome. We're getting into it. Let me get my slide ready. Okay, our goals for today. I want to show you how you can create revenue from your client base. We are good-hearted as accountants, and we're so used to billing time that we are afraid to generate income from other sources. I once had a secretary, and the client phoned and said, in the days before we had these NPOs, we had Section 21 companies, non-profit companies, And the client said, but you're charging us 6,000 Rand for a non-profit company. And the secretary had a wonderful answer saying, yes, but we're not a Section 21 company.
I hope that you enjoyed that video. For more of our webinar videos, go to www.accountingacademy.co.za. Thank you and have a lovely day.